On the previous lesson, you were able to identify the definition of philosophy, who are some notable philosophers, and what are the two types of thinking, the holistic thinking and the partial thinking. To review, holistic thinking refers to a perspective that considers large-scale patterns in systems. A holistic perspective requires an individual to have an open mindset and ability to get the general sense or impression regarding a situation. On the other hand, partial thinking focuses on specific aspects of a situation. The partial view is an important component of analytical thinking. An individual focuses on certain areas or aspects of a problem in order to understand it. This time, let's know more how to do philosophy. There are two objects of philosophy, the material object of philosophy and the formal object of philosophy. Material object is what we call when philosophy studies all things. Thus, all aspects of reality can be the object of the philosophical study. In plain language, philosophy considers a material object as something which consists of matter rather than something which exists only in the mind. An example of material is the wood, which is used to build something. Philosophy is regarded as a formal object when things are studied through their ultimate causes, seeking the deepest explanations regarding the existence and nature of beings. In relation to the formal object of philosophy is the philosophical study of value, which what we call axiology. According to some philosophers, formal objects are axiological properties which individuate emotions, make them intelligible, and give their correctness conditions. Now let's proceed to the nature and scope of philosophy. Philosophy is acquired through the use of reason, seeking the ultimate explanations that can be arrived by applying reasoning to facts supplied by experience. To have a short review of the previous lesson, once again, let's talk about the definition of philosophy. Philosophy means love of wisdom. This word was first coined by Pythagoras. According to him, wisdom is a matter not of knowledge, but of understanding and insight. It is achieved by inquiring into the why of things rather than into their how or what. After examining the definition of philosophy, this time let's talk about the branches from where recognition of various human activities emanated from deliberate reflection and dialogues. Many of those vital issues of philosophy are still disputed and have unsettled question up until today. Nevertheless, one of the greatest needs of someone seeking wisdom is a genuine sympathy and an understanding of all the most diverse point of view, or practicing holistic thinking. A narrow provincialism of mind, limited to the ideas and outlook of a single party or a single age, which practices the partial thinking, is wholly incompatible with a real philosophical attitude. That is why, here in Introduction to the Philosophy of Human Person, you are expected to think holistically, thinking on a various point of view. The first branch of philosophy is what we call the Epistemology. It studies the nature of knowledge and the rationality of belief. It is also the means of production of knowledge. For example, it is generally known that the earth is round. However, some people think it's flat, and we should be able to explain why it looks flat. There are three main examples or conditions of epistemology: truth, belief, and justification. For example, a lie cannot be truth because it is not factual and it is false. The next branch of philosophy is metaphysics. It studies and asks questions about the essence and existence of a being. Metaphysics also examines the fundamental nature of reality, including the relationship between mind and matter, between substance and attribute, and between potentiality and actuality. It concerns existence and the nature of things that exist. The next one is logic. It is a study of reasoning. Logic helps people decide whether something is true or false. Another branch of philosophy is ethics. It concerns the matter of value or morality. It is the part of philosophy that deals with good and evil. Ethics tries to answer questions like, what actions are good? What actions are evil? How can we tell the difference between good and evil? Are good and evil the same? How should we make hard decisions that might hurt or hurt other people? How do our actions affect others? Ethics also refers to a set of principles of right conduct. In application, we all need to decide what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is evil. The next branch of philosophy explores the nature and appreciation of art, beauty, and taste. It is called aesthetics. Aesthetic philosophers ask what people like to look at, hear, feel, smell, or taste, and why they like these things. Aesthetic philosophers also ask if art has any value. Let's have a short refresher of who are some of the notable philosophers of the history. Philosophers are people who engage in philosophy. It directly means lover of wisdom. If you know more about the legacies of these philosophers, try to read back the lesson from the previous What's In. First, we have Pythagoras, or for some speakers, they call it Pythagoras. He is the first person to name himself a philosopher or lover of wisdom. Next, we have Thales of Miletus, the first person to explain the world and universe outside mythological concepts. And then we have Heraclitus, who believed that the world originated from the fire element. He proposed that everything that exists is based on a higher order or plan, which he called logos. And then we have Socrates, who is the first moral philosopher. He is known for his Socratic method or elenchus. We also have Plato, a student of Socrates and the teacher of Aristotle. His teachings and writings were considered the foundation of Western philosophy. And then we have Aristotle, who studied logic that led to the formulation of a formal process of analyzing reasoning, which gave rise to deductive reasoning, the process of which specific statements are analyzed to reach a conclusion or generalization. We all have the potential to philosophize since we have the tendency to wonder and doubt. We possess the capacity to reflect on our experiences, and we have a never-ending need to learn and discover. The need to philosophize is traced to a person's sense of wonder, according to Plato, and doubt, according to René Descartes. The need to make sense of challenging experiences, according to Karl Jaspers, and the love for wisdom. The study of philosophy can be considered as a way of analyzing ideas and frameworks. It is also considered as a way of examining a particular area of knowledge. Philosophy itself is a discipline with its own goals, concerns, and ways of doing things. It also makes use of information gathered from other fields of knowledge and not just its own conclusions. Finally, philosophy can be considered as reflective and meditative activity. That's all for today's discussion. Thank you for listening.